you hate people? Do you see another person and you think, ew? Do you also appreciate your alone time? Well, oh boy, do I have some information for you. Let me introduce you to floating islands. Here, you can forget about all your problems and all those weird people because, number one, they float. Number two, they're islands. And that's really about it. Let's make some rainbow ones, shall we? This is gonna take like 10 hours. So of course we have the red island for our first island today, which of course has to be kind of evil themed. Now what I didn't mention in the intro is that I'm going to make each of these islands have a purpose, and that purpose is that they're kind of dungeons in a way. There's going to be chests and like mobs to fight and stuff like that. So there's going to be like a building or cave in each of these islands where the chest will be hidden. I went for a building for the red island and I built a sort of temple, which I'm not really sure why I came up with this idea, but I think the effect is pretty cool. It looks really awesome, and we got the cool different windows which I made using the Chisel and Bits mod. If you've been watching my channel recently, you'll know that I am pretty much obsessed with this mod and the detail you can add to builds. I also decided to decorate the rest of the island with lava and fire because that is evil, and it also adds a bit of a challenge for the dungeon. In fact, I'll show you around the island right now. Let's go have a look around, shall we, Joel? So here is the red floating island. As you can see, very evil indeed. Just want to point out a few things that might not be super obvious in the time-lapse, but the amount of detail I put into this building, I spent way too long on it. As you can see here, I think it looks really cool. Got another little window up here as well. And the bits on top, which I think look really cool also. So you'd build your way up onto this island and you might land here, say, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you've got to sort of make your way through without getting burnt by lava. I'd probably be on fire by now if I wasn't in creative mode. But then you get to the red platform up here, through the trapdoor, and oh my gosh, there's a lot of skeletons in here. And you got a couple of chests in here, as well as these skeletons, which you can hopefully get some good loot out of. Oh, let's move on to the colour orange next, though. So you think orange, what do you think of? Of course, you think of the fruit, the orange, which is a fruit. Didn't think I'd have to tell you that, okay? And of course, oranges are found on orange trees, which is why I made an orange tree on this island. I sort of built up this little platform for the tree to go on, and then I made a decently sized tree. I looked at some pictures of orange trees and I tried to make something similar, and of course it turned out nothing like that. In fact, I used orange leaves instead of green leaves that you'd normally find because I wanted this island to be as orange as possible. And oh boy, aren't you glad I did that? As you can see here, I'm building a little tiny orange on the ground. It looks kind of weird when I'm time-lapsing this because I'm just sort of shimmying around on the ground. But you will see that I add this orange all around the orange tree, as well as some orange water, and of course a dungeon underneath the tree, as well as bone mealing the ground. So the orange floating island is complete. As you can see here, we've got the big orange tree, and I'll do a little close-up. I made some little oranges here to place around the tree. I probably could have attached them a bit better, and also these little hanging glowstone bits, which I think look really nice. And you can already hear all the spiders, as inside this dungeon we have a little trapdoor here, and you head down, and oh my gosh, there's lots of cave spiders everywhere. They're hanging around, they're terrifying. We got a chest over here, and there's another chest over here as well, as oh my gosh, a creeper. All the scary stuff. Before we move on to our next island, there's something that I'm going to use to link these first. And that is, of course, a rainbow. This is a rainbow themed episode, so I'm going to make a big old rainbow that stretches out across all these islands. But we're going to progress it as we go along, and now we are moving on to the yellow island, which of course you think yellow, you think of the sun, you think of beaches, but that's a bit of a struggle because normally beaches have water and water is on the ground, so I had to try and make a beach that was floating, so obviously lots of the water was falling down into the water below. And I also spent way too long, in fact about 40 minutes, making these beach chairs and these sort of umbrella things, whatever they're called, sunbrellas. That's not right. Although why didn't they call it that? Anyway, moving on, we've got a little castle here made out of sand, of course, which we had on the beach. Some kid probably built it. Very complex for that child to have built that sandcastle. I just said castle, didn't I? Oh well. We also had a beach hut, which is meant to be abandoned and overgrown. So you got some blinds on the outside and a few vines running down it as well, which I made with the Chisel and Bits mod. But let's go have a look around the entire island. So our yellow beach resort island is complete with a few palm trees, and it might have been hard to see in the time lapse, but this here is actual sand for the beach. The rest is sandstone because it's floating and it would just fall. We got some deck chairs here with a little umbrella to keep us shaded, which these things all took way too long to build, seeing as how small they are. Here we have a little sandcastle, bucket and spade, another deck chair over here. And here is the main hut with all the vines coming down from it. We enter in here, and as you can see, there's zombies around. If I get a torch here, you can see there's a chest in the corner over there that you've got to try and get. But you've got to fight the zombies off first. We'll join this up with our rainbow soon. But first, let's move on to the next island, which is of course the colour green. Now most floating islands in the past have been green. I say this like floating islands exist in real life, which of course they do not. So for green, I wanted it to be very naturey with lots of trees and different things. So I made this sort of ravine and then just had jungle trees on either side, and one of the big caves was going to be the dungeon. I also added water going through the ravine and also some green water on one of the big sections of the island. Now, the main focus of this build is this bridge here. It is a wooden bridge, which I built completely from scratch. That creeper tried to have a look at it, but he was not allowed. And oh boy, am I proud of this bridge. I think it looks really cool. I'll show you it in more detail in a second. For the rest of the island, though, I just had this small little hut, which is very overgrown, with a few vines on it. Some that I made and some that are in game. But let's go have a look around this place in more detail, shall we? Yes, we shall. So, a very green island, as you can see here, with a little bit of blue walking through it. I really want to show off the bridge that I made, as I took so long building it. As you can see here, it's got a little dip in the middle, so when you walk across you go down a little bit but then back up again. Really pleased with how that turned out. There's also a little hidden cave down here with some stuff inside it looking nice. We've got the little stream and we've got the final little building as well, some vines and some vines I made coming down it, as well as the door. We head down into the dungeon, which is filled with zombies, and there's a chest in here over there where valuable stuff would be fine. There's also another one hidden in there somewhere, but you need a torch to light it up. And there's also a secret exit there. Ooh, lovely. But do you know what else is lovely? The colour blue. It was my favourite colour, although it may have changed recently to green. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still to make up my mind. For this island, I tried to make it extra circular, and also I wanted to include water, because water is the thing that I think of when I think of the colour blue. How many times did I just say the word think? Way too many. So I wanted this island to have water flowing all the way off it and to have some water mobs on it. So I made this centre island here, which I eventually made symmetrical, and I added loads of guardians down below that will fight you on your way up this main island, which I added a very, very complicated centerpiece onto, which took way too long to build. I do like the effect in the end though, and I think it looks really cool, and I also added some magic trees from the Biomes of Plenty mod onto this island, which of course are blue, to finish off the ever so blue effect. Kind of a tricky one to do because water is normally found on the ground, where here it is floating. So a lot of water coming off this island here, as you can see. It is also very blue. The aim is, once you get up here, you've got to make your way past all these guardians and elder guardians that will attack you in the water, up the stream here, or you can build up, I guess. And the chest is on the final level up here. I made this little fancy section in the middle out of the Chisel and Bits mod, which I think works very nice as a centerpiece. Finishing off the blue island. Did someone ask for some rainbow progress? You didn't? Well, tough, here it is. The rainbow is expanding to the blue island now. And we are also expanding to the purple island. Now, I wanted to do something a bit comical for this island. I had an idea in my head of what I thought of when I thought of the colour purple, and that is, as you will see in just a second, is of course Barney the dinosaur. So basically, I made an island in the shape of Barney the dinosaur by using a green liquid for his belly to have a sort of mini lake in the middle of it. I found some pixel art online and I just copied it straight out. If you Google Barney pixel art, you'll find this one right there, although I did change the eyes and added a little tail underneath as well. As for the dungeon, there's nowhere to hide it, so I had to build Barney a nose, and in there we had the dungeon. Let's go have a look around to see what's inside that dungeon, shall we? So a very different island in comparison to our other ones, but still, it is very purple. The idea would be that this green here would be poison liquid, so you come up and go, ooh, this is interesting. Bang, poison. Not so interesting now, is it? We've got Barney's eyes up here, and a little tail down here, and in through his big old schnoz, we have some doors, and in here, you drop down, and there's no ladder up, so you get trapped in here with all these witches and a chest. So you gotta try and fight your way out. Up next, though, we have our final island. The final chain in the link, the colour pink. Yes, that rhymed on purpose. I'm a poet, and oh boy, I knew it straight away. As for anything that I build with the colour pink, I decided to make it very Love Heart themed. Originally, I had the pink water, but I soon changed that to blue water as I wanted to have the water flowing off the island. I also made a very pretty pink tower, which is pretty on the outside, but not on the inside, as of course it is a dungeon with lots of scary mobs. I wanted to customize this building a lot and add in loads of cool heart windows, which normally wouldn't have space for in Minecraft, but because of the wonderful chisel and bits mod, I could make it so. I did have some major struggles with the roof, and I think the end effect is not as nice as I was originally hoping, but it's not bad, and that's okay with me. I also decorated the island with some pink trees and bone milled the ground as well, and everything you'd expect me to do. So let's go have a look around it, shall we? A wonderful island, especially next to that purple Barney one, which looks a bit hideous. Climb up and you're met with all these lovely trees and little bits of water, which do actually, if you look, come down and drip out of the bottom like so to make a cool effect. The tower is looking very nice. We've got some little bits of decoration all around it, even some little love hearts on the edges here. Inside, however, pretty vile. Oh, they've all disappeared. There was a load of spiders in here, but now they've gone. Maybe they shall spawn in later. Upstairs, though, we have our chest with some actual light and pink windows. Our final item of the day, the only thing left to do is link up the rainbow. And then I spent another hour making a rainbow for literally no reason as we finished the islands, and nobody's probably going to watch this, but it looks kind of cool, I guess. And there you have it, our rainbow islands all the way from red to pink. Let me know in the comments which is your favourite island, and if you do have a favourite, why it is your favourite. Also, make sure to leave a like and a comment if you haven't already. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I shall see you another time. Ignore the end of the rainbow. I know it is absolutely hideous. I'm so sorry.